Hello and welcome back to Stranded Deep. You join us once again in the map editor, and we are here on our archipelago, our collection of small islands. What we are making, we have a kind of interesting feature on this little island. We've added a shipwreck, we've added a little tunnel made of rocks, we've added a walkway and some trees, we've added a sort of a wet area, some of these channels here, so they have a suggestion that maybe at one point the boat got itself in there somehow. I'm just going to move the camera away from these objects because the speed is going to speed up and slow down. Oof, it is rough. There's nothing wrong with the computer, there's nothing wrong with the game, but when you move a camera close to an object, it slows down infinitely until you're away from its bounding box, and then boom, it speeds up as soon as the camera is free from things. Free from things it is because it's a singular object. So we were working on this little islandlet last time. I think what we should do is go and work on something else for the time being, because we've done a lot there, but we need to come back to it. We also need a theme. We need to kind of work on this. What I was thinking is what we could do is do what we did with the Blue Hole Island, the Blue Hole map, which was a suggestion in the comments by Stanley Orchard, and he said, I challenge you to make a blue hole, and we did. One of the things is, so what I'm thinking is we've got these two islands here, this sandy one here and the sandy one over there, and we've got this one here with shipwrecks and stuff on it. I think what we could do is make one of these quite tall, add some cliffs, add some stuff to climb on and up and over, and maybe do something similar this side, sort of raise it up a bit, which means this thing in the middle, if we had this as quite tall as well, it might be a little bit too much. I'm thinking, okay, let's get rid of this. We put the boats on there just to give us an idea of scale. And scale is good, of course. What I'm thinking is go to this rain tool and this smooth height? No, set height. So we will, let's turn off the water display ocean. So what we have at the moment is kind of a nice underwater environment. So, with these little islands playing around on the top. I think what we could do is sample, read the train type from about here. Let's change the brush size down a bit. So the target value is quite deep, most deep as it were. This is obviously going to cause problems when there is a storm, where we have the deep water, the sea is going to rise up and it's going to try and collapse. Whoops, wrong button. It's going to try and collapse down. The closer it gets to shore, the shallower the water gets. But if you have a very steep shoreline, then you get very high waves, followed by the water just sort of stops. It kind of looks a little bit weird, but I think we can deal with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to push this back into the ground. We're using the soft brush again because the soft brush is good. It's not bad. It's the opposite of bad. It's good. It's going to get presents from Santa Claus this Christmas because of all the wonderful things it has done for us. So what we'll do is we'll push this back, and as we do, the LOD is going to snap around, and this sort of very harsh edge is, well, we kind of expect to have a harsh edge. How far down is that going to go? Is it keeping going down? I'm just pushing and holding the left mouse button. So as ever, it's WSA and D to move the camera. It is Q and E to move the camera up and down. Right mouse button pans the camera. And everything else is done by clicking furiously on things. Okay, so that's kind of fairly deep. Nice. Let's turn the water back on. What have we done? Oh, we've ruined it. It's ruined. Hashtag ruined. No, it's fine. I have been watching the Bob Ross 24-hour live stream. Oh my word. I love it. I absolutely love it because chat goes crazy. Chat is beautiful. It's over on Twitch, and it is a wonderful, wonderful thing to behold, especially since Bob Ross died in, 92? I want to say 1992. But his legacy very much lives on. And everyone really gets into it. Everyone really gets into the spirit of the videos. We're going to just make sure the amount sliders down. We're going to change the size of this as well, just a little bit smaller. So if you don't know who Bob Ross was, we need to lower that. He was an American. He was a painter, and he painted using oil paints on canvas. And it was very, very interesting the way he does it, because I think the way he actually did it for the TV show, and they're only about I think half-hour episodes or something. The way he did it is to paint, come up with a painting first, and then repaint it on the TV show. So what you were seeing is actually the second painting that he'd made. So he already knew what he was doing, and that's a fairly standard thing. You kind of need, if you're working in a half-hour time slot, you kind of need to know what you're doing. But it's really interesting because he'll do something, he'll put some oil on the canvas, and with a flick of a palette knife, or a flick of a actually, I don't know, it's not a palette knife, is it? Whatever the sort of edged tool he uses, it suddenly becomes a mountain or clouds or something. And then he has so he works from the back of the painting forward usually. So the mountains go in, the sky goes in, and then he'll put sort of some heavy brown on the canvas, and chat goes all wild. Hashtag ruined. And then he turns it into something like a waterfall or a forest in the foreground. And it's like, it's absolutely brilliant. It's beautiful. It really is beautiful. So, yeah, hashtag ruined. Sometimes you got to break something before you can fix it properly. Which is kind of what we're doing here. We're just punching a hole in one of our little archipelago islands. It's just like, why are you doing that? What are you doing? What good can come of this? All the good, maybe? Don't know. So we are going to lower this down. I want that sweet green grass. I'm going to have a little gap here on this side. And what I'm doing is just pushing this back. I like that wet sand idea. I like the idea that it might not even be fully connected to the sea around it. So we're just going to brush this back. So this is just a raise and lower, and I'm lowering the outside of the island. Might change the shape of it as well a little bit, because it's quite big. I think this is the largest landmass in our little archipelago chain. We could put something else in. We could put a smaller island in or something, or we could play around with this. Yeah, no, I mean, basically we're doing whatever feels right at the time. It might be wrong, but chances are it isn't. So we're just pushing this back. One of the things we are probably not going to do with this particular map is throw in a bunch of sharks. Now, blacktip reef sharks are going to spawn here. That's basically a given at this moment in time. So we're just going to smooth this off. Large brush. The amount's going to crank up a little bit, but not too much, because I want to take off any triangular edges, just to give us an idea what we're working with. So I'm kind of moving around in a 3D space, just doing 3D space, moving around stuff. It's fine. We can probably just put some fun stuff in the hole. I can vaguely hear at the corner of my headphones the dulcet tones of next door neighbours' kids screaming at each other, so I apologise for that. Someone in the comments was saying, it sounds like your mouth is full of saliva. Well, yeah, I can give you an explanation for that, my friend. It's because it is. I mean, that's the natural state of the human mouth. It tends not to be dry like the Sahara, but kind of damp, like clothes in an airing cupboard. Yeah, it's just one of those things. You've got to turn the noise cancelling all the way up, and then you've got to sit on top of your microphone, which is a good microphone, and then you've got to compress the ever-loving crap out of the audio. So compressing the crap out of the audio is not like JPEG compression, or it's not like a lossy compression. So it's not like JPEG compression, or it's not like zip compression. What you're doing is you're taking something, so all the loud areas, all the spikes, they stay the same. So the loud areas stay the same, and then the quiet areas get brought up to match the loud areas. and that means any mouth noises get pulled up with it. So now everyone's noticing that and they can't unhear it. Welcome to the internet, but you can hear that pretty much anywhere. Bob Ross 24-hour live stream, for example, I think some people were like saying, oh, you can hear him swallow, and then I think it's swallowing. That was getting people last time I was watching it, and it's just like, yeah, he's got to do that, dudes. But he's mic'd up, he's got a lav mic on, so he's wearing the microphone. There's nothing you can do, you can't get away from it. It's not like you're singing in a soundproofed booth. You can't just turn your head away every time you want to breathe in. Unfortunately, the world doesn't quite work that way. So I'm going to turn the ocean back on and see what we got. And what we got is big, and it's blue, and it's beautiful. Wait. That's a Florence and the Machine song. I like Florence and the Machine. I really do. And Ellie Goulding. But mostly her first two albums, because I wasn't too... I think Halcyon was good, Lights was definitely good, or Bright Lights if you got the remaster or the American version. Yeah, I can't remember what the latest album is. I wasn't too hot on it. Whatevs. You don't have to like everything someone does. Speaking of which, we are pushing this back, and we got a problem immediately because we have all of these bubbles, so we're going to have to push this back at the top a little bit. That's not a problem. We will use the raise and lower. We're going to have lower, and we're going to move this back, move this down, and then just have to push in at the top until these bubbles disappear. So yeah, you can do quite a lot with the ocean turned off, and it gives you an idea of what's going on underneath the surface. Oh my god. Seriously, if you can't hear them, they are really absolutely murdering each other out there. Or maybe they are murdering each other. Maybe I'm being a negligent neighbour, not watching the next door neighbour's kids. Hang on a minute. Why would I do that? That's a creepy thing to do. No, I will not watch them, and maybe they will murder themselves. Curious. Oh well. I mean, I think if you do have kids, one of the things you should do is definitely send them away at a very young age, maybe 1, 2, and they can earn money for you being chimney sweeps, which is something that I have learned by watching such classic drama documentaries as Mary Poppins, the original Mary Poppins, and any Charles Dickens novel, actually. It's always hot on child labour. But not The Little Match Girl, because that is a true horror story. Everyone dies at the end of The Little Match Girl. It's like, oh, your parents are dead. Well, you're going to die as well. And it's like, oh, Charles Dickens. You're not gonna... Actually, was that Charles Dickens or was that Hans Christian Andersen? I get the two confused. They do have a thing for sad stories. They're just like, you know what? You guys are sitting down for a nice story, Christmas time. Tell you what we're going to do. We're just going to kill everyone in the story. And it's just like, holy shit, you went full on Hannibal Lecter on those kids. That is just terrible. Yeah. It's almost as bad as sitting down to watch Watership Down when you're a kid and thinking, oh, it's a cartoon about bunnies. Oh, it really is. Oh, it really is. And it's not a cartoon about bunnies at all. I don't even know what it's about. It's like, ooh, these bunnies are going to get riggedy wrecked. It's like, what is going on? So we're going around the edge of the hole, just getting rid of some of these bubbles and making the inside of the hole a little bit shallower, which is also probably a good thing because it means people are going to be able to climb out of the water a little bit easier once they have fallen in. Which is a good thing, because if a player ends up in essentially a... Oh my god, this is the murder episode. So, if the player ends up in the Sims-style swimming pool when there's no ladder for them to get out, they just have to swim around there and reload. Oh wow. Things are getting pretty dark pretty quickly. Good. Classical novels. Yeah, so Hans Christian Andersen. Whoa, that dude. I think he did write a few stories where people just didn't straight up die. But I think it was something of like a social commentary of the... Oh, sugar. Oh, well, that's the amount slider. That happens almost every time. We can recover this. Smooth height. Let's change the size, change the amount. Smooth that little divot out. Cool. That's better. Yeah, there is a story he wrote where people actually survived, and it was actually quite a delightful story, but I can't remember it. Not off the top of my head. Not off the top of my head. I mean, The Little Mermaid was pretty bleak. Half of the actual original story is to do with mermaid society. It's not even about... I mean, if you've watched the Disney film, you're thinking, oh, it's all, singing and crabs and stuff, and everyone's, it's about a girl and she's got crab. But it really isn't. I mean, it seriously isn't. It's all about how mermaids don't have souls. So, wait a minute. And then she sells her voice to the sea witch, and the sea witch is like, yeah, you're gonna have legs, but it's gonna feel like you're walking on knives all of the time. And by the way, you're gonna need to learn how to dance because the prince, there's gonna be a lot more people to dance and stuff. And she's like, YOLO, I got this. Oh, by the way, you got no voice. What? And you're not even a princess. So when a natural princess turns up, not the sea witch in disguise, if you watch the Disney version, the prince is like, oh, here's a natural princess, better get my princely charm on. And the mermaid's like, oh, well, guess I'm stuffed then. And the sea witch is like, well, you can be a... You can have a second shot thing. My sisters have come along, sold their hair to me, and they've got a dagger. So, stab the prince in the heart, and you can become a mermaid again. No worries. Don't think about it too hard. See ya. And obviously she doesn't do it, and then becomes sea foam because mermaids don't have souls. Oh, Hans Christian Andersen, Hugh Joker. But no, they don't have souls, so they don't go to heaven. So yeah, what happens? Oh, she's instead of just turning to sea foam and just dissolving into the sea, she's found by the I want to say daughters of the air, like air spirits, and she spends the next 100 years doing good deeds to earn a soul. I mean, you don't get that in Disney, seriously. Although, interestingly, Disney's pretty bleak as well, especially the early stuff, where it was always someone's mum. Always someone's mum, either getting straight up murdered, or, in Dumbo's case, just thrown in chains because you've had a kid that's, oh no, you're a little bit difficult. They take the kid away, and then it's like, no, my child. And then they're like, well, you're a naughty elephant. We're going to do bad things. And then it's like, oh, hang on a minute, you're an elephant, we can make money from it. Disney. Why Disney? So yeah, in all that we've been going around the outside, basically just pushing this back using the smooth tool. It's doing two things. It is smoothing off the top of this massive crater what we have created. It's also making the inside of it a lot shallower, so it's easy for someone to actually just walk out. And then we're also chasing back these bubbles, which we know from experience are going to create something there. There's a little one there. We'll end up as a gap in the water mesh. Now what we can do is we can get as far as we can, and then we can say to ourselves, I ain't got time for this, and throw some rocks down. Wait, what? Yeah, you can do that. Totes do that. So we're also going to smooth this little triangle-y thing there. I don't think it's going to be too bad. Triangle things there. We'll get the camera closer just to make sure. So I'm just using the big smooth tool on the outside of the island. It's chasing in some of the... Just moving it backwards and forwards. It's chasing out some of the rough edges. You can kind of see it moving rapidly as we brush around, just to raise up. So it's a huge brush, like an enormous brush, and we're raising up the sand on the outside again just to make it a lot smoother underwater. So if you are bringing your raft up. You're not just colliding with a sea wall, as it were. We're going to have problems with that anyway, because I mean that's not too bad. Just because of what we got and the way we're using it, so it's not a problem. So let's do this big brush here. Cool. Nice, absolutely nice. So we've punched a hole through the center of this island. We've smoothed it off, and it is boom. I mean, it's fairly deep. It's not monstrously deep, but it's fairly deep. So we can throw some rocks and stuff in here, which I am totally going to do. We'll get our objet. Cool. Yeah, so it's not as big as the hole that we made on the blue hole map. It would be very tricky to do that and have all the edges fairly smooth. What we have done, we've gone around, we've made everything very, very smooth, very, very nice. But in fact, what we can do to give you an idea of scale is find a structure. And we take our shipwreck 3A and we drop it in there. I mean, she's big. That is a big hole. Yeah, I mean that is an enormous hole. It's enough to completely hide a shipwreck, mast and all. So what we're not going to do is have that in there, so we'll get rid of that. What we will do is go to rocks. Big rock, yes please. Oh, I like a big rock. We'll just have it sticking out of the thing. So I'm using T and R, and we're just grabbing the toggles and moving around. We'll do the same thing here, and I can tell you immediately what we are looking for is a kind of an arch. But we are working in a 3D space. Fortunately, see that from here kind of looks like it's far behind it, but it's not. It's just because it's lower down. So we'll rotate that. We'll use green toggle. No one's going to be walking on this because it's going to be underwater. So not a massive problem. The rocks, like any object, in fact. Let's get rid of that one. Hello, goodbye. Hello and goodbye. Let's grab this one. Yeah, is it fun? Kinda. It's a big rock. What can you say? What more can you say? Not a lot. I bet you can't say it. Not more than that. So yeah, how are we going to do this? Do we want 3 rocks to make a little arch? Do we want to put it in sort of deeper like that? Yep, maybe. Boom. Booming is happening. Right, okay. And we can quite happily throw that in there. Nice. Nice. Okay. What we can also do is put some small rocks on the bottom. Small rock. Yeah. And we'll actually be able to notice these backed up into the terrain. You'll be able to notice these small little details, because it's not that deep. You just put your face under the surface and be like, oh yeah, there's some rocks and stuff down there. Cool. What we can also do is go back and turn the water on, display ocean. Hit up objects so we don't have a brush in the way. Oh look, there's a bubbly bubbles there. Bubbles are a bit of a problem. So we want to get rid of those. And we can just cheat by taking a rock and popping it there on the waterline. Oh, I don't have time to chase all this back. So let's do it. It also keeps the motif as well. What motif? The idea that there are rocks and stuff in the pool, so bubbles there, so we'll do the same thing. Let's go R, and we'll move this around so it just kind of fits in. Fits in here. Pull you back and push you into the terrain. So yeah, you're just patching where the mesh is definitely gonna break. So I'm just looking around. Oh, there's loads of little bubbles. Why are there loads of little bubbles? It's no problem. It's no problem. But we are gonna have to get rid of them. How many of them are there? Loads. Okay. So there's essentially just a genuine rock pool. There's one. There's not on there. Shoreline rock. Small rock. We'll do that. Small rock can go in there. And by doing this, we are actually doing two things. We're going to need a bigger rock. We're going to need a bigger rock. We'll do it. One can go in there. We haven't used that one yet. But in this, you're doing two things. But just because it's a kind of an awkward shape, we are masking these holes. Masking these holes? I watched Dr. Strangelove the other day. In fact, when I say the other day, I mean yesterday. If you're like, where's my video? I really wanted a video today. I got home and I was extremely tired, and then I needed to get up for work really early, and so I was just like, you know what? Gotta think of the number one guy. And that's gotta think of yourself every now and again. I was like, nah, I gotta get me some sleep on, so I grabbed the iPad and I watched Dr. Strangelove on the iPad, which is a good film. Dr. Strangelove, or How I Stopped Worrying and Learned to Love the Bomb, which is it's a film. If you've never seen it before, it's kind of well, certainly of its era. I'll tell you that for free. But yeah, it's a comedy set in the Cold War, starring Peter Sellers. Has got 3 roles in the film. 3 roles. That's a lot of roles. Yeah. So what we're doing is we're just going to patch these in, little bits of rock and stuff on the outside. On the outside. Good. So what we've done is gone round, putting rocks and stuff where them bubbles are, because I just cannot for the life of me fathom why we would carry on doing something like that. Just trying to fill that stuff in. You're not going to float down there, are you? No. So this is a physics object, or would be a physics object, but in the map editor it's not going to physics, so we're not going to use that. But I do want structures. Okay, so tippy top tip number 1: do not use a C4. As much as everyone wants to be using dem C4s, yo, unfortunately they don't work. You will see them. I mean, if you're using them yourself, you might see them on your own island, but chances are, as soon as somebody else loads your map, as soon as somebody else downloads it, for some reason the C4s will disappear. I don't know if that's been fixed since 0.48, but typically, yeah, it's a bit of a problem. Something of an issue, yo. I'm wondering if we can do something interesting with this. I bet we can. So this shipwreck starts upside down. So, don't adjust your TV sets. It's just the way it is. So what we'll do is do this. Yes. And one of the interesting things with this shipwreck is that you've got this open area and this little trapdoor thing. So you can put it in a position, if you jam it into a beach or something, you can end up in a position where it will just kind of trap someone inside it. So if I were to sink that down, so if this was above the waterline, you might end up with someone stuck in it, which you don't want to do. You always want to give at least some thought to how things are laid out, just in case a player goes into your map and then is just like, oh, I'm stuck, I can't get out, please help. And you're like, no, I am not a benevolent ruler. And they're like, oh, I hate you now. Cool. So what we can do is, I think, Shipwreck 4A, I'm going to have to let go of this because it's trying to snap to the terrain, and unfortunately the terrain is a little bit squibbly, so which is a genuine word, not something I've just made up. And what we'll do is we will rotate this around. Press T, kind of jam it into the side of this. Oh, I want that. There we go. Exactly what we need. So what we're doing is we are making an underwater shipwreck using shipwrecks. How cool is that? So what I'm going to do is T. I'm hitting all the buttons. I want to rotate. Yeah, well, I think what I'll do is bring this out, bring this up, rotate this a little bit. I mean, it can be stuck in the sand. That's not a problem. Don't be worried if your shipwreck is done stuck in sand. Let's do that. Cool. So it looks... Oh, you can kind of get a view of it there, but if we do this, it kind of looks like the front of the boat or the bow, and then the stern has been really just completely annihilated. I don't think we can get... I mean, there is this guy. It's way too big, I think, for being down there. Definitely not going to serve any purpose having the rowboat in there. Seafort Bridge. Yeah, that actually might work, you know. That might work as just a bit of detritus down here. So we'll take the Seafort Bridge. That does spawn. That does work in on a map. And what we'll do is we'll rotate it around, making sure we don't lose it under the terrain, because I don't know how you get it back out if you do lose it under the terrain. Drop you down, down, down. Actually, yeah, into the sandy bit at the bottom. What should happen is it will, when it renders in your world, it will come with a full cheese tray and some tiny little wines, which are really only there for sipping and cooking with. No, what it'll do is, what I'm doing is just extending what's already there, because it's just a mesh walkway, so it looks like there's extra bits of the boat. I think this might even be is this broken one? Might be. Whoops, wrong one. Let's grab this. Is there a break in it? No, this is the complete one. Which one's the broken? This is the broken one. Actually, this might be the broken one. I don't think they... Oh, yeah. It is. There we go. There's the gap in it. So what was this one? Also the broken one. Oh, cool. Okay, fine. Let's get rid of that one. Yes, please. I want you to go away now. We'll get this one. Bring you up. Do a little rotate. Little rotate. So it's just a little soul thing. It's just following what's already there. With this, we can just kind of rotate around. Down a bit. There we go. Just adds a bit of 3D-ness to the wreck. And I think that's going to be not visible anymore. Not anymore. So let's do the same thing with this. Away. Cool. So we've got some bits, other bits of material. We've got the back. We've got the front. Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. Bearing in mind that we don't really need to do too much down here, because the game will fill in this area with seaweed and fish and all manner of stuff. So we've got, we've got essentially a small blue hole there. I think the last thing we would probably want to do is throw a few more rocks in just on the just on the side wall. So we could probably just use shoreline rocks. No, let's not do that. Let's keep it the same as we've been doing it. So big rock, maybe. Whoop, that's a cliff. Big rock. kind of interesting that... There we go. Okay. These rocks are... I don't want that one. These rocks are huge, really quite big, and then we're just using them simply as decorative items. And we'll rotate this one on the other side. Just grab that and just push it into the terrain, so it's just kind of overhanging. That's a little bit better, a little bit subtle. But it'll do, Okay, cool. And the rest will be filled out by the game. So what we've done is we've created a pool. We've put a little bit of shipwreck in it, and we have completely hidden it from view. Wow. It's, yeah, all that work, and from the surface, almost nothing. But then you dive beneath the surface, boom, and you've got some little treasure trove, something just to play with. So that is absolutely brilliant. To go with our island, what has the shipwreck on the surface, and then it has basically the same thing, the same motif. So the little rock arch, and the shipwreck kind of sunken in a little tube or walkway or whatever you want to call it. So we've got more stuff. We'll put some trees and stuff around here and just kind of dress it up. But that's another feature on another island. Brilliant. Brilliant. You know what though? I think I might leave it there. So if you're liking this, definitely leave a like, leave a subscribe. And you know what? Wait a second. If you do subscribe, click the little bell, because that might give you notifications when a video goes live. And you know what? I'll catch you next time.